Europe, about a year ago, a regional election in a European country would have hardly evoked global interest. But ever since the dramatic events of the previous month, Spain's autonomous province of Catalonia, the rich northeastern region of Spain, has made international headlines. Well, for months now, Wion has been right on top of the story and brought you every angle and detailed reporting, even from on the ground, from the illegal declaration of independence to the separatist leader Carles Puigdemont's flight to Belgium. Meanwhile, Catalonia is now under direct rule from Madrid and preparing for a historic election on December the 21st. Will the Catalans vote for independence from Spain or not? Wion senior foreign editor Padma Rao examines.
First, the demonstrations by thousands of supporters of deposed Catalan President Carles Puigdemont. Then, the outlawed referendum to say yes to independence from Spain, held in the face of police violence and against all odds. Next, the sudden flight of the pro-independence leader to Brussels, even as Madrid cracked the whip by suspending Catalonia's autonomy, imposing central rule and declaring a fresh election on December 21st. Spain's Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy's swift moves were masterstrokes by setting an almost immediate date for a fresh election. By doing so, he doesn't play into the hands of pro-unionist Catalans, that is, those who want Catalonia to remain with Spain but do not approve of Madrid's central rule for longer than necessary. Nor does Prime Minister Rajoy play into the hands of pro-independence supporters who would have found the perfect excuse to decry Spain's central rule in what has been a fiercely autonomous region for hundreds of years. Prime Minister Rajoy has just been in Barcelona, where his own People's Party fared badly at the last regional poll in 2015. It isn't expected to do a lot better this time either, but then neither is the independence bloc of Mr. Puigdemont. Through a series of bizarre moves, pro-independence leader Mr. Puigdemont has lost a considerable chunk of his popularity. His followers, who took to the streets under his banner of independence for months, feel let down. The Catalan leader ignored several opportunities presented by Madrid and the country's constitutional court to explain his case and essay a compromise. And finally, and almost in fugitive fashion, he slipped out of the country, changing cars several times in a drive through France to the Belgian capital Brussels. But as before, the European Union and member state Belgium made it amply clear to him there that Catalonia is Spain's domestic matter and they will not interfere. And they will certainly not recognize Catalonia as a separate country. The dilemma was perfectly characterized by Ada Colau, Barcelona's mayor, whose Barcelona en Comú belongs to one left-wing coalition contesting the December 21st poll.
I want to emphasize the fact that it is time to stop the trench warfare, the warring language, the words of victors and vanquished. Let's give ourselves time to set up a space for sincere and unconditional dialogue, a time of mediation.
The 43-year-old mayor also slammed Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy's imposition of central rule on Catalonia hard. Indeed, Ada Colau seems one of the few politicians in Barcelona to have her finger on the Catalan pulse, the mood of the moment. It is obvious there will be no separate state and that Mr. Puigdemont's abandonment of the months-long anticipation of his supporters has done irreparable damage to the splittist cause.
Today, we need a gesture of appeasement on both sides, not an escalation that does no one any favors. Now it is time to build bridges and not blow it all up.
Neither are there too many Catalan unionists, no matter how much in favor of staying with Spain, who want Madrid's bear hug wrapped around their historically autonomous province for a minute longer than necessary. When Catalonia votes its future in weeks from now, Miss Ada Colau may well turn out to be the dark horse and the kingmaker. Padma Rao, Wion.
All right, let's go straight to Wion senior foreign editor Padma Rao joining us now from the international desk. Padma, we're about 5 weeks away from those snap elections in Spain. Certainly the world is watching to see how all of this goes, especially given the recent trend of sort of separatism in Europe.
Absolutely, and in the meantime there seems to be a scaling down of his hardline position even by the man at the center of the storm, that is the Catalan separatist leader Carles Puigdemont, who is currently in Belgium waiting it out to see whether he can eke together some sort of a coalition as he did before. But that coalition itself is in tatters. His reputation has been dented considerably by the moves he's made, as the story Gauri just told you. So, yes, we are in for interesting times ahead because Mr. Puigdemont himself is now talking of, the possibility of talks to diffuse the crisis and the standoff. And Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy, in a separate interview, Mr. Puigdemont spoke to a Belgian daily Le Soir, and the Prime Minister, Mr. Mariano Rajoy, spoke to Germany's newspaper Die Zeit, and he too indicated that he had always been willing to talk and that he had no options but to impose central rule in Catalonia. So it seems that, overall that there's a softening of positions, and we may yet see, autonomy, perhaps with greater rights for the Catalans, return to the region.
All right, Padma Rao getting us the very latest on that. Thank you for those updates, Padma, from the newsroom.